What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Broodwar ladder cast. We've got JYJ versus Time is Gold for this first game, but there's going to be about 3 games in this video. All TVZ. Strap in. Plenty of great content here today. I've heard this is a very good game, so taking another look at Time is Gold, a new addition to this soup, this miasma of players on the ladder, this kind of conglomeration of mental illness, I suppose you could call it, which is Broodwar ladder. I'm just kind of getting myself prepared to get back into it once again. I just got a brand new mouse, and I will start laddering again soon, but I feel like there's just 2 types of people who ladder regularly. People who actually play a lot of games. You're either completely emotionally damaged and incapable of keeping it together, or you are an absolute psychopath stoic who just doesn't even flinch when things are constantly going wrong and absolutely falling apart. And I'm somewhere in between the 2 of those. Occasionally, I think I actually do a lot better when I'm not streaming at just being like completely emotionless and like robotic with my play. Sometimes I get upset, but I'm for the most part just like, whatever, just leave the games. I don't really care if I lose or win. But when I play on stream, it feels so much more visceral. Having people watch you is just a lot of extra pressure, so just makes it a little bit higher stakes, I guess, which is always kind of fun. Getting into this game now, we've got Time is Gold down here in the bottom left with a 12 hatchery, getting into his first set of lings as JYJ appears to want to push across the map. He's actually maybe looking for an overlord at the moment, thinking that perhaps if the overlord went in this direction. You usually don't send overlord in this direction though right off the bat. It's usually in this direction, as you can float over the natural of the Terran player immediately. See, he's searching in the wrong location. He really should be searching over here, although it's not quite in that position yet. It will be there shortly. Could have an opportunity to pick off an overlord as it crosses this kind of danger area. Yeah, generally whenever a Zerg player sends out their first overlord, it's going to be towards the closest natural, which is this one down here. And he's thinking about sending those Marines down a little bit, but one Ling looking to make a run by. Gonna come out and see these 4 Marines. Hasn't made any more Marines, and that's something that always impresses me with Zerg players at the highest levels, how few Marines they're willing to make, how little they respect the early Marine number, when you can so easily lose a bunch of drones and just completely get thrown off your game if you're not super careful. Here, Time is Gold has only made 2 lings, and the naked Marine push out didn't phase him at all. Follow up to this, gonna be an early +1 build from JYJ. I actually haven't seen this build for a little while. It seemed so robust and so common for a bit, but then came a lot of 2 racks play. Seems like maybe Terran players were getting the feeling that they needed to put on extra pressure in the early game. But JYJ here not feeling that pressure, instead thinking about pushing out with just 1 medic, trying to scare Time is Gold into making some sunken colonies. Let's see if he bites. I don't think it's likely that he will. He's leaving 3 Marines behind in the wall, just to make sure that he doesn't suffer a run by right now. Overlord makes his way to the natural. Can now see what's coming out from JYJ. Hasn't budged at all. Has the benefit of cross map position, and so is feeling pretty comfortable. Sending lings over to the top left. I'm not really sure what those are doing. He's searching for an SCV. It's in vain. Looks like he's searching all over the map looking for a potential SCV. Now going to bring the Lings together along with these mutas, see what he can do with a 2.5 hatch build. Should be able to put on a fair amount of pressure. Maybe pick off a few SCVs, although JYJ's setup is looking good. A very nice setup is prepared. 7 mutas in this flock. Sniping the SCVs at the back of the patches is going to get him some easy kills. He kind of missed there. Should be able to one-shot with this group, but he only picks off maybe 1 or 2 SCVs there. Not looking too good so far. Gonna come back in for some more damage. Yeah, just waiting for an SCV to come around the back is a totally reasonable strategy. With this many turrets, a lot of SCVs are gonna end up cycling back there. It seems like at this point, the SCVs are so low in number, that's not going to happen anymore. Oh, pulling out a muta. That was a little bit weird. He pulled out one of the injured mutas and sent it directly into the Marines. That was definitely a mistake. And JYJ going to start to push out. This is a ball that needs to be respected. And so, Time is Gold cannot just continue to hit SCVs over at that natural. One Marine finds the 3rd base in top left. That's a very important scout. Now JYJ knows the object of his attention. Coming up with this 3 barracks push. He starts his factory as he gets another reinforcement train out. Queen's Nest on the way. Hydra Den is done, but no lurker upgrade it started just yet. There it is. Lurker upgrade on the way, but he'll still need to continue to make mutas for a little bit longer in order to keep this Marine ball back. Not a full group of mutas even are here to help defend. Some Lings are going to try to run by the bunker. Unfortunately, the... Oh gosh, 2 mutas go down right there. I think JYJ might have a good opportunity to go top left and just break open that location. Oh, catching these mutas again. He gets another one for free. JYJ, the ASL champion, getting a big leg up over Time is Gold at this point. He's got the 35 workers. He's halted SCV production. We know what that means. He's going to be cranking out tons of Marines. He's going to be adding on a bunch more barracks as well. This barracks number should start to explode as the money builds up. And we're going to probably see... Oh gosh, jumping on top of this rally is amazing. Picking off a whole bunch of Marines in that rally and moves out with those mutas mostly intact. Excellent play there from Time is Gold. But the fact remains, this Bioforce is looking big and the muta number is quite low. Catching some of these JYJ Marines going up that ramp while he was dealing with the Lings in the main. Some excellent tactics being used by Time is Gold, but he still needs to buy a little bit more time. Lurker on the ramp should hack it though. That should be enough. Lurker on the ramp, as long as that's blocking, and I think it is, he should be fine here. And indeed he will. He will be okay. Gonna dive on top of these Marines. They're not stimmed and they don't have medics, but still enough Marines will punch through that low mutalist count. Many of those mutas end up going down and very few air forces remain after that fight. 2 lurkers burrowed on this high ground is very difficult to break through. And so 6 kills on this, 1 kill on this other lurker, 2 lurkers on this high ground. Should be able to hold off everything, but he does need to keep the mutalists in reserve just in case there's a run by. If he tries to split and run in, there is a possibility that he could break this. So here he goes, hitting that stim button. He's going to try and run up this ramp. The mutas are going to help a lot in tanking damage over top of the lurkers as he tries to run up, but it seems like, oh, is he actually going to break this? 8-kill lurker gets 1 final shot. I thought it might be double damage there. Sometimes that can happen. When the final shot comes out, right as it dies, the lurker can occasionally do double damage, but it seemed like it didn't happen that time. However, Time is Gold with the reinforcements propping through the Nidus will survive for now. Over in his natural, has a few units there as well. 4 kills on this lurker. Must have caught something out on the map. I'll try to picture that as well. If I can remember. A few more drones popping, and Timeless Gold has made its way up to 40. The fact is, JYJ lost a lot of Marines trying to make that dive, trying to make that push. Drones heading out on the map. I don't know where they're going, but looks like they're going to be sent back home now. Lurker stack. Only 2 there. 3 over in... Oh, 5 actually. In top left are going to be brought out and stacked on top of each other. This actually makes it look kind of funny, right? Maybe there's only 3 lurkers there. The way that he stacked these up could actually bait JYJ if he does it properly. That Scourge is going to go down, and I like what he's doing with his Overlord, spreading them out like this, giving himself great vision over the pathways into the base, which JYJ would likely take to dive in and try to get the kill. With some dropships, he's actually gone up to 50 workers now. Kind of halted on the aggression for a little bit, while getting himself into a better position to possibly take this game late. Firebat with that D-Matrix making a big splash. Oh my goodness, he's gonna be able to break this. Barely not. Yeah, I think he got baited there, thinking that there were less lurkers than there actually were. And a lot of these stacks of lurkers end up getting huge amounts of damage. 8 kills on that one lurker, but you can imagine there were a lot more on some of the lurkers that were taken out earlier. Does he not have Consume? That seems crazy. He's getting Plague. He must have Consume. I'm just surprised that he didn't use it and cast a Dark Storm in that fight. It was getting kind of close. Almost having JYJ break through those defenses, and that would have been devastating. Lings make their way over to bot or center right, which is a base that JYJ would like to take. Hasn't started Armor 2 yet, which is a bit worrisome here for Time is Gold. JYJ expanding out, taking this base in center right, but he may end up taking even more. Will he transition into a mech army, or is he going to stay on SK Terran? The 3rd starport is already done before this 3rd refinery is finished. Wants to ramp up that production as quickly as possible. Checking either of these bases to see when the 5th starts to come up, because the 4th came up rather smoothly. Time is Gold has a very reasonable position to go into Ultra, but I don't see that Ultraless Cavern just yet. He started +2. He starts Burrow as well. 13 more drones on the way. Gonna go up to about 60 drones overall, and starts the Ultraless Cavern, so that transition is coming. Will JYJ be in time, prepared for that transition? Some dropships are out. He's waiting for 4 though before he pulls the trigger on any big drops. This is a vessel there. Unfortunate for JYJ. Only has 3 vessels remaining. And if all of the dropships get taken down, he could find himself in a pretty big amount of trouble. Oh my goodness, the Scourge. Oh my god, they just don't see it. That's so crazy. If those Scourge had headed a little bit further south, he might have actually caught that. That would have been wild. An absolutely insane catch. Oh my gosh. You can't see it. The Scourge have so little vision. He will not spot those dropships. He can't pick them off. Oh, he's turning. He's turning. He's gonna find them. Oh, he sees them. He sees the drops, and now he can intercept. Can he actually get any of the dropships, though? They're just barely ahead of the Scourge forces. There we go. He gets 1. He gets 2 dropships. A 3rd dropship will go down for sure. This one is empty, though. Lings come into the main base, trying to hold off this push. I think he's done a very reasonable job of keeping most of his stuff alive. Unfortunately, we'll lose some drones on the retreat, but this is completely acceptable amounts of damage for picking off almost every dropship there. Only one dropship remains. Defiler at the front. Can't consume. Hasn't been able to consume yet. Doesn't have a Dark Swarm down. Uh-oh. There's only one lurker here. Can JYJ break through with the double D-Matrix? He's busting in. Oh, there's actually more lurkers underneath this one Overlord, and some Ultras finally pop out. They do not have upgrades, but they are about to. A couple of Irradiates go down on some of these Ultras, and so it gets a reasonable trade with the initial few Ultras popping. However, it's now time for more bases to start to come up for Time is Gold. Unfortunately, he loses that drone before taking the base. Lucky for JYJ, he manages to pick that off. Another base going to come up in just a moment. Center left and this base as well going to be grabbed by Time is Gold. More dropships coming out, but it's a little bit too late. More drops doesn't make sense once Ultras are on the field. Ultras counter drops. Not as much as Scourge. And the Scourge. Oh my god. He didn't see that. Oh man, that is frustrating. That is truly frustrating. He could have stopped all of this chaos that's about to go down in his bases if he had only paid attention to those Scourge. If he had seen that coming with the Scourge, he would have easily shut this down. He does get the drop in the end, but he's losing a lot of drones and he's being pushed to the limit. Oh gosh, this Ultra cannot get back there. One lurker gonna come up. This Ultra again cannot get back into that corner. Luckily he has one lurker there at least to eventually clear this up. More Ultras coming out. Ultra speed is on the way, but I don't see +5 armor just yet. Coming in with the vessels. They start to irradiate a lot of this stuff. One of these Ultras gonna get irradiated. Some of the vessels will end up falling. But Time is Gold is limping. 47 workers remain. Definitely enough to keep going on 3 bases. Can he defend these other locations that he wants to take? I want to see him grab this as well. Double expansion is very good in situations like this. Pushing in once again. Firebats leading the charge. Another round of irradiates is actually going to kill both of these Ultras. So might as well send them out and try to deal some damage, but instead he's going to leave those back at home to defend while counterattacking over to the center right. Base has just been taken over at top center as well. This JYJ struggling to keep 4 bases online against this ultra heavy Zerg player. 3 battle cruisers move up into the top left-hand corner. He's making 3 at a time. And so the first 3 may end up being able to get a lot of damage because +1 is already done. They can one-shot Scourge no matter how many armor upgrades you end up getting on those Scourge. They will just one-shot no matter what. Great Plague there. Could use a Dark Storm as well to keep these drones alive, but he doesn't have it. Bunch of Spore Colonies are going to be made over in this top left. Meanwhile, Ultras are attacking into top center and also into the natural as well. So JYJ trying to put out fires everywhere. Time is Gold doing the same. A drop over at the natural as well. Cleaning up a lot of workers. Now there's only 35 left for our Zerg player. 23 though for JYJ. So JYJ is taking the short end of the stick. Only thing that's really going for him is these battle cruisers are going to live. But he's not able to mine at either of these 2 fresh bases, and his natural is just about to mine out. He only has 18 workers remaining. Is Time is Gold gonna do this? He's almost managed it. Just needs to pull himself together for a little bit, enough to get rid of all these battle cruisers. Some Hydras are gonna come out now. Those will deal with the low HP battle cruisers pretty cleanly. You should be able to get rid of them. While saving the hatchery? No. Hatchery goes down with the hatchery falling. He's going to chase down the last couple of battle cruisers. Oh my gosh, it's so annoying. It stays alive. Ultralist down here with 4 kills. Going to continue to rack up SCVs. More notches on his bedpost. He heads back home to tell the tale. Pretty good amount of vessels. 6, reasonable. But he can't really afford to make any more vessels, and he can't really afford to make battle cruisers anymore. His money is too low. 17 SCVs, and I think Timeless Gold has clutched this one out. He's got it in the bag. 12 more workers at the same time. This is the glory of Zerg. This is the best part about Zerg, is when you take all this damage, when you have all of this worker loss, replenishing that worker count is super easy, barely an inconvenience. Whereas for the Terran player, putting out that many SCVs, you know, 20 more SCVs, this is a long time. It's gonna take so much longer for JYJ to put those workers together. Burrow the drones. There we go. Drones are going to burrow, so that play with the eraser is not going to do nearly as much damage as he'd hoped. 2, 3 battle cruisers coming in onto top left natural. Definitely going to be able to kill the spore colony. All right, they do back away. More Hydra's going to come up though, and Hydras don't have Dark Swarm to make them invincible, but they're still dealing a lot of damage, and if some Scourge come up to assist this, they will definitely be able to clear the battlecruiser. 6 kills on this one, 8 kills on that battlecruiser. My gosh, they are getting a lot of damage. Dark Swarm now finally, so these are invincible. Plague as well is awesome. This is the last mining base, truly. Almost nothing mining over at the natural any longer, and with the Dark Swarm coming up, and the Lings breaking this base, it's just about game over. Time to make a queen, man. Make a queen. Do it, Timeless Gold. You can, you know you can. Lots of Scourge, lots of Defilers out, but I don't see many Ultras at the moment. And this base is actually going to get taken down. The 5th base will be shut out for Timeless Gold. As well, the battlecruisers are continuing to push, getting off more and more Lings. Eventually they will be killed though. 11 and 9 kills on those. Finally getting this back up to mining. 15 workers only. Some more workers went down in these fights. Absolutely brutal. Timeless Gold taking his time for sure, closing this one out. Timeless Gold is that absolute unit of a Zerg player we talked about, we showcased before, who stayed in one game, Terran versus Protoss, for what was it, 10 hours or something like that? 8 hours? I can't remember exactly how long it was, but he stayed the entire time, went the distance, and eventually clutched it out at the end over his opponent. What should have been, you know, a what's it called, a stalemate. He utilized queens and broodlings to eventually win that game. This time it's not going to be nearly as hard. All he needs to do is get this 5th base online and continue to just slow down JYJ a little bit by a little bit. And there's JYJ throwing out the GG scans as he taps out of this game. Wow. Kind of an incredible amount of chaos at that one point in the game where JYJ was coming in with the battle cruisers and dropping the natural while taking all the damage back at home. It was pretty tough to pay attention to everything at the same time, but I hope I did a good enough job, guys. We're going to jump into our next game. It's coming right up. All right, for our second game, we've got JYJ versus Hero. A rare match. Hero doesn't play that many ladder games these days, but he hopped on for, when was this? Let's see if I can find the replay information for you guys. Got so many replays in my folder now. Here it is. It was on the 3rd of January 2025. All of these games were in January. In fact, JYJ setting up a kind of an interesting little wall there. That is something else. Is he gonna put another supply depot below that? Supply depot below? Okay, I see. Interesting. So he's gonna put the supply depot below. This is a tight wall. That's a tight wall for Lings. And then this right here is the only gap. And Marines that pop out are immediately going to be spawning in the gap to be able to block if something's running by. That's excellent. I like it. It feels a lot better than, you know, the traditional barracks supply depot with a one gap at the top. When every Marine, like, you can only do it in certain spots and the Marine pops out and then it needs to run all the way up to the gap to be able to block. So it looks very good. I like it. JYJ sending out these Marines, looking for a possible Overlord snipe, checking around for Hero's Overlord. But Hero's gonna be fine. Has some Lings already on the map. Poking out, gonna find these Marines possibly. Otherwise, he's gonna run into the reinforcements. There we go. In fact, sees the reinforcements and the original Marines, so he knows exactly how many are out. And it should know the exact correct response to this. He's got Ling speed already on the way. He's gonna make 6 Lings, and that is should be enough. 6 should be fine. Still having a hard time tracking down this SCV though. It's actually one of the weirder things about Starcraft Broodwar, in my opinion. The fact that this player right here, Hero, doesn't have an ASL championship and somehow JYJ does. That is kind of mind-blowing, considering how many times Hero has been in the top 4 best of ASL, the semifinals of ASL, but hasn't managed to clear a finals and get that title. Behind this double factory, interesting. Okay, going into a mech build. Should be a fun game. Liking this already. Spire on the way. Lings are gonna run by though. Ooh, the Lings run by into the main. They're gonna see the vultures. Of course, they won't get any damage because of this. The vulture, perfect unit for dealing with just a few speedlings. We'll come back and clean this up. Marines are coming into the natural. Oh my goodness, is he gonna get a huge amount of damage? The sunken colony was built kind of far back. Maybe the Marines, no, they can't run by this side. Sunken colony is perfect for stopping this. Oh, he's gonna try to run by, maybe snipe a drone or two. Oh, he gets 1 drone. That's okay. We'll let that slide. 1 drone kill. Not the biggest, most impactful. You can get back to mining on that gas soon. And start to pump out these mutalisks. He's actually gonna prioritize minerals right now. So I think we're gonna see a 3rd base come out for Hero quite quickly. And it's doubtful that he will go full on for mutas. Like, he's not going to try and just bust this factory play, this Goliath play out of JYJ. Prioritizing the minerals, getting out as many drones as possible, and taking this into possibly a Hydralisk game. That might be the case. There's the 3rd base down at 6 o'clock. Diving in to kill off a turret, but great repair there will actually keep it alive for a very long time. And already Amita's gone down. More could fall. Charon booster's not quite done yet, so this is a good time for Hero to abuse JYJ, but that time is closing, running out. Has only 6 mutas, so can't one-shot. It only gets 1 SCV in the main base. That's a little bit rough. Mining, unfortunately, 4 drones on this natural. Should figure that out and sort that out soon, though. It's pretty obvious if you take any amount of time to look at that base. There's too many drones on that gas geyser. But of course, playing at 450 APM, sometimes you're never looking at any place on the map for more than a second. Mostly you're flicking between your bases so quickly. Hardly anything registers except for when you make whatever's coming out of your hatcheries. And look at that, he's not actually seeing this. And so missing out on some extra macro when macro is kind of a big deal right now. 27 workers only, and the Goliaths are out on the map. They're kind of pushing. Once +1 is done, we may end up seeing JYJ shove in towards this natural, try to kind of get a kill on this base, or perhaps he wants to go back home and wait for +2 or +1 armor, excuse me, and +1 attack. Mutas are going to make their way over towards the natural. This is a full group of 11 now, so they can kill those SCVs for sure in one shot. And slowing down the economy a little bit, but it's truly the army that he needs to worry about. I'm not sure if he's fully understood what's coming out of JYJ, but this is kind of an all-in maneuver from JYJ. It's not fully all-in, but this needs to do damage. He's making 5 factories. He's massing up Goliaths and eventually going to get some tanks out as well. He's got a first tank out. He's making a second one. Most of the money's going into Goliaths as he waits for the second upgrade. And we're going to see one massive push from JYJ coming up soon. That's going to make or break him in this game. Still mining with 4 drones on that one extractor. That is a little bit painful. 31 drones now are done. The 38 workers of JYJ. So he's even out this count a lot, but he's doing so by using some of this health on the mutas, which is a little bit rough. Diving in on a few of these Goliaths. He's going to try and take a couple of easy kills before the main battle starts, but now everything's kind of bruised up. Might be tough for him to stop this army. I don't see a lot of sunken colonies. Some players will build a wall of sunkens and put sunkens on high ground over at this base as well, and just try to sustain while building up mutas. See, he's only limited by the the amount of gas that he has. So if he builds a ton of drones and then builds a bunch of sunkens, then he can slowly build up into a massive mutalist count. You know that there's not going to be a vessel with this play, and so pure muta could break this, but you need some sunkens to buy time. You need sunkens to buy time. Lings are going to help as well, but it's a majority mutas which are going to do the trick, and it's going to have to come down to a big fight in just a moment. He may not be able to wait for the flyer carapace, and indeed he won't. At the same token, +1 attack is not done yet either for the Terran player, and that's a lot of mutas jumping all over this and killing off every single Goliath. The tanks are going down as well, and no drones have fallen thus far. This is too many mutas, yeah, and it looks like even with these extra forces coming in for JYJ, that Hero will be able to clear out everything. Great textbook response from him, stopping this push. He can come back and kill these tanks now as well, although he's focusing mainly on just getting rid of as many Goliaths as possible. See, this tank has 6 kills. He's going to kill quite a few of those workers, but overall that's completely okay. He can make a bunch of drones now, and he will continue his upgrades. +1 armor is going to finish. He can go ahead and make +2 armor. Still no starport for JYJ, so I guess JYJ made a pretty big mistake going in before +1 attack was done. And he's just going to follow up with another big attack more Goliaths being made, and he's hoping to catch Hero making too many drones, making a bunch of drones and not continuing his production, but he's keeping his money very low. Only 200 gas in the bank means he's been pumping out as many mutas as he possibly can on these 3 bases. Here comes these forces for JYJ, but immediately diving in with all of the mutas, targeting down one by one these Goliaths. This is some excellent control from Hero. He's starting to get forced back a little bit. Trying to build some turrets is interesting. JYJ trying to build some turrets to support his units. Only 6 mutas remain. Need to build some lings to kind of mix in with this. Tank some damage for the mutas. He's used up all of his gas, so he can't really make more mutas than what he's pumping out already, but he can make more lings. If he gets lings to the front, he might have a chance. Here we go. Lings are going to come in, hitting from behind, and more Goliaths are going to come up to assist. 1 turret finish. That's going to help out a lot. And the Goliaths, as long as they're controlled correctly, will trade very well against the lings. Oh my goodness, is JYJ actually going to break this? Hero, it seemed like he had a great position, but GG, he taps out. Didn't remake those sunken colonies. Oh, if he had like 2 sunken colonies to fall back to in this natural against just pure Goliath, I think he would have been just fine. But unfortunately, gets a little greedy, builds a bunch of drones, and he thought that his just pure mutalist macro off of 3 gas would be enough, and logic would seem to agree, but JYJ still manages to crush through. Mech is so strong, guys. JYJ takes out Hero with this follow-up attack. I really thought he threw the game when he pushed in without +1 attack finished already. In fact, the armor finished during the fight for these mutas, and so he had a upgraded advantage during that. But he still managed to shove through with the follow-up attack, guys. This is wild. This is something that I struggle with as well. Very tough to hold. But you can definitely see how just a couple of sunken colonies, right? He made all those lings to try and save himself at the end. Imagine if he just built 2 sunken colonies after he held that push. Definitely could have cleaned up these forces that you just can't really engage into sunken colonies with pure Goliath unless you have an insanely overwhelming number, and this was so close. Just a tiny bit of extra DPS and some extra tanking for the mutas would have definitely clutched things out. Anyways, GG guys, that's it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one.